Fan theories aren't limited to movies and TV, and as video games have grown more sophisticated, many have challenged players to draw their own conclusions about narratives, character arcs, and the deepest mysteries. Some of these theories are plausible enough for developers to address as well. The idea of Fallout taking place in the distant future of the Elder Scrolls series was thought-provoking in the first place until Bethesda came out and debunked it. In truth, many fan theories have all the merit of tin-hatted conspiracy ramblings, and while these can be entertaining, the chances of them being accurate are about as high as getting through Sekiro without dying. Every once in a while though, players devise ideas about their favorite games that are right on the money, so convincing and inspiring that the developers then confirm them. This sort of thing is far more common in film and TV, but it isn't unheard of in gaming. I mean, look, maybe it was the plan all along, or it's just a way to pretend that falling with style was flying. We'll likely never know. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 more video game fan theories confirmed by the creators. Number 8. DOOMGUY is a descendant of BJ Blazkowicz. Wolfenstein 3D is the granddaddy of all first-person shooters, so it seems appropriate that its protagonist might also literally be the grandfather of the main character from its spiritual successor, Doom. Fans have long pointed out the physical similarities between BJ Blazkowicz and the so-called DOOMGUY from the very beginning, and developer id Software confirmed the connection in its 2009 mobile game, Wolfenstein RPG. The role-playing spin-off told the origin story of the Doom series Cyberdemon, revealing how BJ defeated the creature's original incarnation, and it swore to return to battle his descendants, which presumably then includes the DOOMGUY. Doom's lead programmer John Carmack developed Wolfenstein RPG, so this history lesson is coming right from the horse's mouth. Although it should be noted that both franchises have since undergone massively substantial reboots and are yet to share any connective tissue in their newer forms. Just look at the pair of these guys though, that is one happy family. Number 7. Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is a sequel to Majora's Mask. For several years, Majora's Mask was viewed as the black sheep in the family, a dark departure for the series which stands alone outside of the main continuity as a glorified side quest or a Gaiden release. This all changed when The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess arrived on Wii in 2006, as eagle-eyed players spotted subtle references to the N64 classic. The layout of both games' maps are uncannily similar, but the biggest piece of connective tissue concerns the Twilight. See, there is a reference to a villainous race being banished to a Shadow Realm in Twilight Princess, and fans were convinced that this meant they were exiled to Majora's Mask's doomed world Termina, which makes the Wii release a sequel. Nintendo endorsed the connection between the games when it published the Hyrule Historia book, which came complete with an official Zelda timeline. The diagram placed Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess beside one another in the same reality, which makes Termina the equivalent of Dark World in A Link to the Past. Confirmation that Majora's Mask is connected to Twilight Princess solidified what many fans suspected all along. This experimental N64 game was always so much more than just a non-canon spin-off. Or Nintendo saw an open goal and just went for it. Your pick. Number 6. Michael Jackson composed music for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Fans had been pointing out similarities between Sonic 3's soundtrack and Michael Jackson's music for years. If you want to hear it yourself, listen to the game's end credits tune, then Jacko's Stranger in Moscow in quick succession. Many speculated that the late King of Pop was an uncredited musical contributor on the game, and even at the time this wasn't as outlandish as it might sound. There is, after all, prior history between Michael Jackson and Sega, as the latter published Jackson's legendary Moonwalker games for the Mega Drive and Master System. The gaming giant has always downplayed this collaboration, but in a 2016 Huffington Post article, 3 of the 6 composers who worked on Sonic 3, alongside a former Sega executive, acknowledged that Jackson provided music for the game. Jacko was one of the biggest artists at the time, so why all the secrecy surrounding his involvement with this Mega Drive sequel? Well, it's all something of a video game myth. Many claim the singer was unhappy with the sound quality of the final recordings, removing his name from the credits, while others believe that the child molestation allegations he was battling at the time made Sega think twice about making the partnership public. Number 5. Final Fantasy X-2 Shinra founded the Shinra Company in Final Fantasy VII. The Final Fantasy series has always played fast and loose with continuity, taking place across several alternate universes with little connectivity between them. But fans have long speculated about strong links between Final Fantasy X-2 and Final Fantasy VII, given the former features a character called Shinra and the latter a mega corporation with the same name. During an interview with Kotaku, Final Fantasy producer Yoshinori Kitase addressed a number of popular fan theories and debunked a whole bunch of them apart from this one. The Square Enix executive stopped short of confirming that 10-2 and 7 take place in the exact same world, but did reveal that Shinra's creator envisioned the character as the future founder of the Shinra company. And I quote, "Shinra in Final Fantasy X-2 was created by KAZUSHIGE NOJIMA, the scenario writer, and when he thought him up, he thought it might be good if people would imagine that after a few years after the story of Final Fantasy X-2, that person Shinra will grow up and start the Shinra company." You can take this as at least quasi-confirmation of a connection between Final Fantasy X-2 and the fan-favorite Final Fantasy VII. Number 4. Super Mario Bros. 3 is a stage performance. Super Mario Bros. 3 is easily one of the greatest and most influential platformers of all time, but some fans were always convinced that what they were playing wasn't canon to the overall series. The evidence that the whole thing was a play staged by the main characters was overwhelming. First up, a curtain raises to reveal the title screen, and each level ends with the scenery giving way to a dark abyss, not unlike a poorly lit backstage area. It was only slightly surprising then when Mario's creator Shigeru Miyamoto confirmed that Super Mario Bros. 3 is actually a stage production, during a video called Mario Myths hosted on Nintendo's official YouTube channel. From here, the Mario series gets seriously meta, since Bowser's kids and a bunch of other enemies then found their way into later sequels. Does this mean they escaped from the fictional world and every other game is the real world of Mario and friends, or have they been playing the bad guy all along? Number 3. Metal Gear Solid 5's nuclear disarmament cutscene. What a absolute ride Metal Gear Solid 5 was. The fact Hideo Kojima was returning after the very much done Metal Gear Solid 4, the swapping out of legendary voice actor David Hayter for Kiefer Sutherland, the ultimate gut punch of one of the best action games of all time having its legs cut out from under it, as Konami kicked it out the door without the final cutscene being rendered. All of this created an aura of mystery around the project, especially when the story was centered on filling in the blanks of Big Boss's backstory, alongside his relation with nuclear weapons. As such, Kojima would routinely comment that was a secret at the heart of the game, and with a big chunk of Phantom Pain being the customization of your home base, quickly fans theorized that the pair were connected. Turns out Hideo Kojima had coded one hell of a message on nuclear disarmament directly into the game, where we'd only ever get a cutscene declaring world peace if every single real-world player decided against manufacturing nukes for their bases. Confirmed by Konami in February 2018 as the PC version glitched out and showed the cutscene anyway, it confirmed that a secret cutscene did exist, and that all of us would play a part in unlocking it. Of course, to this day, neither in the real world or in the game, nuclear disarmament has not been reached. Number 2. Both Captain Prices in Call of Duty are related. If the definition of a wholesome good boy wasn't a dog but a person, it would be Captain Price. A long-standing favorite of various Call of Duty games, many were introduced to the captain in Call of Duty's seismic fourth main installment, Modern Warfare. However, a mustachioed man with near-identical features had been around for far longer, stretching all the way back to the original Call of Duty games that were set in World War II. Appearing as more of an NPC as captain of the 2nd Airborne Battalion in the original Call of Duty, then the 7th Armored Division in Call of Duty 2, fans began to retroactively connect the dots, as Price became more fleshed out in the newer titles. Though Infinity Ward haven't stated anything on the record, ex-character designer Sami Omer confirmed to Turkish website Merlin and Kazani that both Prices are in fact related. The older Captain Price is none other than the grandfather of the one from 2007's Modern Warfare, connecting the Call of Duty games as something of a shared universe that was clearly being discussed at some point across development. And number 1, the location of that body in Silent Hill 2. Yes, we're going to be delving into spoilers for Silent Hill 2, so don't say you haven't been warned. Silent Hill 2 has a number of possible endings, but the most harrowing is the in-water conclusion, where tortured protagonist James drives to a watery grave with his wife's Mary's body in the car. That is considered pretty damn definitive by most. Hard-hitting though it may be, not everything about it adds up, as the location of his wife's corpse at the beginning of the game and why it suddenly materializes right at the end were always shrouded in mystery. The fans then had their say, and many believe Mary's body was in the trunk of the vehicle the whole time. It turns out after years of discussion that they were half right, as designer Masahiro Ito confirmed on Twitter that the cadaver was always located in the back seat of the car. Masahiro's comments could have inspired a dozen more conspiracy theories as to why the body was never visible in the back of the car, but he had an answer to that too. Apparently, James had repressed his wife's fate so much that he no longer even saw the corpse when looking directly at it, which is as convenient as it is bone-chillingly cold. And those are just a handful of fan theories that went on to be confirmed by the creators themselves. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and please check out the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast if you have the time. For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com, and I'll catch you soon.